Gilgeous-alexander is so far the only player to beat the good stats, bad team allegations. SGA has been called underrated ever since he got to OKC, and honestly, that's fair. He averaged 20 points his first year there and has been improving ever since, but it seems like every year it's only him improving and not his team. Now, I'll be honest, last year I had a huge problem with SGA specifically because of this. Because the amount of times we heard his name be brought up in MVP conversations, even though the Thunder were not even in the play-in for a majority of the season, was crazy to me. I mean, the Thunder did end up squeezing by and making it into the play-in just to lose the play-in. Like, they didn't even make it to the playoffs. And you still had people calling him an MVP caliber player. And I mean, even in the MVP like race, like actual voting, he ended 5th place. Like, most valuable to what? The play-in tournament? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Now, I'm not trying to tear down players that play good on a bad team, because the main point of this video is to show that players can be good on a bad team, but they don't have to be praised like they're top players in the league, right? Because they're putting up these great statistics, it doesn't mean that they're the next best thing all the time. Like, Bradley Beal averaged 31 points in the 2020-2021 season, and the Wizards ended up being the 8th seed, and yet no one talks about it, right? Because it was like, oh, they're a shitty team. Now, for some people, it'll shock you to hear that I don't really consider SGA to be a top tier player in the league. Now, I'm not saying that he never has the ability to become a top player in the league. In my opinion matters so much, by the way. I just want to see at least one playoff run where SGA is the main player. Like, his role right now with OKC, I want to see him in the playoffs. I want to see what he can do for this team. I know that it seems like in the regular season he can put up good numbers. They end up as the 11th seed. Like, I don't know how this goes. I need to see him in the playoffs for me to really have a good mindset on him. Like, a good example for what I'm trying to say is, and I understand this is like a molten hot take here, but in my opinion, Donovan Mitchell last year had a better season than SGA. Because to me, someone who averaged 28 points and 4 rebounds and 4 assists in the regular season and took their team to the playoffs as the 4th seed, I understand that they got knocked off in the first round. Still, just go with me here. Is better than a player who put up 31 and 5 assists and 4 rebounds and didn't even make it to the playoffs, right? They were the bottom seed in the play and they barely squeezed in. That's just how it is to me. I value winning a lot. I'm not trying to say it's like the end all be all. Someone who I think had a good jump this year because they joined a bad team was Lauri Markkanen. Now, Lauri is a good example as to how it should be when someone joins a bad team and puts up good stats, because we all know that Lauri has had potential for the longest time. I mean, his time during Chicago, he showed great potential and he just didn't really get the role in the spot he should have gotten. But when he got to the Jazz, it was his team, and we saw that in the numbers. We saw him jump. We saw how good of a beginning of the season especially they had, and he got his credit for it, right? He got the all-star appearance. Everyone was kind of talking about the Utah Jazz a lot more than we thought we would be talking about them, and it also made Utah Jazz fans a little more excited to watch their team even though they're going through a rebuild. But you didn't hear anyone say he's one of the best power forwards in the league. Oh my god, he's so good. Where'd this jump come from? Because that's how it should be, right? We know he went to a bad team. We know he was putting up good stats on that team, so he shouldn't be getting praised like he's the best player of all time, which he's not, which is, like I said, how it should be. He got his flowers. No one overreacted about it. You know, he got what he deserved. Done. Move on to the next season. Let's see what he can do from there. That's how it should be. Or like Mikal Bridges. I love Mikal Bridges, right? I think he's a great energy for any team that he's on, and overall, he's just a really fun player to watch. And his time in Phoenix, I'd consider him to be a very solid role player. I mean, I would personally have him like 4th on that team behind like Booker, CP3, and Ayton. Now, when he got traded to the Nets in the KD trade, you see his stats have that huge spike, as we've been talking about this entire video. I mean, we know what happens. And suddenly you hear everyone say, man, Mikal Bridges, he might be their franchise guy. Wow, man, Mikal Bridges is so good now. And I even saw, like, KD would have a bad game for the Suns, and Mikal Bridges would drop like a crazy game, right? Points and rebounds and assists, whatever. And I would genuinely see people say, well, you know what? Maybe the Nets actually won this trade. Maybe the Nets really got more than, you know, more than KD with this trade. Are we being fucking are we putting Mikal Bridges over Kevin Durant right now? Because Mikal Bridges is the #1 option on a team when Kevin Durant is arguably the 2nd. I mean, like, these are real things that I'm seeing, and it's ridiculous to me. I love Mikal Bridges. No, I do not ever see him being the franchise guy for a team. That's just me personally. I don't see it. We don't know how it's going to go, though. Maybe he will be. Maybe he will be, and I'll be proven wrong. I don't know. But to me, I don't see him being the franchise guy. I see him being the 2nd or 3rd player on a team and not the 1st. Now, I do think this year is going to be the first year that we see SGA make that playoff run as the head of the franchise. I'm not saying the Thunder will be a top 3 seed or anything, but their bare minimum, their bottom floor right now is the play-in tournament. I see them maybe being like the 8th or 7th seed type thing, where they'll be like edging on whether or not they want to go in the play-in or if they want to be the bottom seed. But other than all the players that I named, in your opinion, what are some players who have also only put up good stats on bad teams that no one ever really talks about anymore? And I always want to clarify at the end of the video that this video isn't intended to hate on any player or hate on any team. And instead of you guys leaving a hate comment where you just shit on me, I would rather hear your guys' opinion on what you have to say, because I love reading your guys' comments. I read every single one. I respond to every single 101. So be sure to go down and comment, is my take bad? What's your take? Let me know in the comments. With that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe. Click the video up on the screen if you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Later.